Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys. So I received this message, then we had to do a translation. So this is the narration of that translation. The message reads like this. Hello my brother, how are you? Can you please post my story? Please, when you post my story, hide my identity. Right now, I do not even have a phone, so I am using my wife's phone so that I can be in contact with you. My brother, my story is quite a long story, but what happened is that after I got fired from the place where I was working, and when we saw that the way that I had been fired from my job, it was not okay, we then decided that we had to go and visit a white garment prophet. So we started going around getting directions from different people. Then we reached this other certain church. When we went to that certain church, we would sit in line so that we can get prophesied. But at the end of the day, the prophet will just skip us. So we kept on going, but each and every day we would do the same thing and no answer. We never got any prophecy. As for me, I then told my wife that I was tired of trying and God was not looking upon me, so I stopped going to church. My wife kept on going to church. The day that she went to church alone, she then told me that there was this other prophet who had approached her. When that prophet approached her, then the prophet started to prophesying against her. Then the prophet said that the prophecy that he wanted to give her, it was a prophecy that was supposed to be done in secret. So he then told her that she was supposed to come back home, collect me, and we were supposed to go and get our prophecy at his house. So when my wife came back home, she then told me the whole story in the prophecy that she had been given at church. I happily agreed. Then me and my wife, we went to that prophet's house. When we went to that prophet's house, he then started prophesying, and he then pointed at me with his walking stick, and he said that I have been shown in the spirit that there are two people. These two people, they are standing in front of your way, and they are blocking you from receiving your gifts that had been given to you by God. So these two people that are standing in front of you, I can see that it is a man and a woman. Those two people are the ones that are blocking your blessings. So the way that he then described those two people that he was seeing in the spirit, I then immediately recognized that he was speaking of my father and my father's sister. I then told him that those people that you are seeing in the spiritual realm, the one must be my father, then the other one, she must be my father's sister. Then that prophet said, it is well, if it is you who has said that the ones that I am seeing in the spiritual realm is your father and his sister, then it is well with me, because I don't want you to go around saying that when I gave you this prophecy, I forced you to agree that the people that I saw in the spiritual realm was your father and his sister. So after that, he then told me that my father and his sister, they were two very powerful witches, so he needed to get help from one of his friends who was a prophet. So that prophet whom we had visited, what he will do is that he would call his other prophet friend, then his friend will start to prophesy to us whilst the phone will be on loudspeaker, and he will be giving instructions to that man whom we had visited. So then that prophet who was assisting us using the phone, he then told us that for him to assist us, he needed at least 9 cows. And these 9 cows, we were supposed to pay it within 3 years. We then agreed and told him that if he was going to assist us, then we were going to pay him. At that time, me and my wife, we had 3 cows. So we then paid him with those 3 cows. That was when he started assisting us. But all along, we had never met him face to face. He would just be assisting us over the phone. So as he was assisting us over the phone, there was this other day when that prophet who was assisting us using the instructions that were given to him by that prophet that we had never met face to face, he told us that we were supposed to go to the river so that we can be cleansed. Then when we went to the river, my brother, the moment that we approached the river, we saw that there was something that was happening in the river. It was as if crocodiles were fighting in the river. So everyone was afraid to continue with the cleansing ceremony. Then that prophet told us that we were not supposed to be afraid because our father Stokoloshi was the one that was trying to scare us. So our father and his sister, they had sent this goblin so that it can get into the water and pretend as if there were crocodiles that were fighting in the river so that we won't do the ceremony. But that thing kept on troubling the waters. I even saw that the prophet, he was no longer okay. He then said that this was just too much for him. As that spirit kept on troubling the waters, then that prophet who was assisting us, when he saw that he could not get hold of his other friend, the one who was giving him the instructions on how to assist us, he then said, let us return back home until I am able to get in contact with my friend. So we returned back to his place. When we returned back to his place, we stayed for about 2 days just waiting for that other prophet to come. When that prophet who had been assisting us over the phone came, he then told us that we were supposed to prepare so that we can go back to that river, so that we can complete that cleansing ceremony that we had started. That prophet and his assistant then called us into another room. When we went into that room, my brother, I do not even know what happened. Maybe that man hypnotized us or he confused us using his juju, but I do not even know what happened, because once we had entered into that room in which he had showed us, he then started to do a lot of rituals on us. I even asked myself that these things that we are doing, are we still praying, or now these things that we are doing, it is pure Satanism? I was so confused, my brother. If you ever come across a woman who will tell you that she was raped by one of these prophets, do not be quick to judge her, because these prophets, I think that when they are taking advantage of you, they do not use force or anything. It's like they hypnotize you so that you can agree to whatever they will be asking you to do for them. Maybe they are just clever and they know how to manipulate normal people, or maybe they use very strong juju, because once we had entered into that room, then my brother, that man with all of his confidence, he then instructed my wife to strip yourself naked. Yes, I was there. I was in that same room, another man telling my own wife that she was supposed to remove all of her clothes. My wife looked at me and I told her to do as the prophet had instructed her to do. I was so confused in that moment. Then my wife stripped herself naked. Then that prophet took a washing basin, then he started to bath my wife whilst she was completely naked, and I was just looking as another man was bathing my wife. And the place where he was bathing my wife, he opened my wife's legs, then he started to bath my wife's private parts. As he was bathing my wife's private parts with the herbs and those things that he was saying that they were the prayers, he was saying that the snake had hidden itself in my wife's womb. So this snake is the one that was used by my father to bewitch other people. So my wife now, whenever we discuss about this matter, she keeps on telling me that when she was being bathed by that prophet, she said that in a blink of an eye, she saw a snake falling from underneath that man's garment, but she does not know where that snake went. She said that everything just happened in a blink of an eye. So my brother, everything happened so fast. Before we could actually understand what was going on, that man had managed to make us perform a lot of rituals that some of them we could not even understand. That prophet, as he was busy washing my wife's private parts, he would then clap his hands. As he would be clapping his hands, we saw that fire will just appear from nowhere. We don't know what kind of magic or a juju this man was performing. After that, then the other prophet told us that we were supposed to go to the river. But this time around, when we would go back to the river, we were supposed to go with a goat. So the prophet told us that he was willing to sell us one of his goats. He then said that he will charge us $50. But that other prophet who was assisting us, the one who had been assisting us over the phone, said that he didn't want $, but he wanted this money equivalent to rands. He just said that he was on his way going to South Africa. He wanted to go there and meet up with this certain Zulu man who was one of his biggest customers there in South Africa. This Zulu man, according to that prophet, wanted some oil that had been harvested from a python. So this prophet, he wanted rands instead of $, so that when you will be on his way to South Africa, you will not struggle. So me and my wife, we went out of that prophet's house to those people who change money. We gave them the $, and they gave us the rands, and we went back and we paid for that goat. After we had paid for that goat, we then went to the river. As we were on our way going to the river, we were made to perform a lot of rituals, a lot that we could not even understand. My brother, by the time that we arrived at the river, I was then instructed to take that goat. I then tied that rope next to a tree which was just close to the river bank. After I had tied that goat to the tree that was next to the river bank, I was then given a very small axe. This small axe, my brother, it had a green handle. It was just a very small hand axe. It was covered with different beads. Then they told me that I was supposed to slaughter that goat. As I was about to slaughter that goat, then my wife told me that we were supposed to cancel all of these rituals that we were doing. But my brother, we had already lost a lot. We had lost our livestock and money to these prophets. I then told my wife that we cannot stop now, but we were supposed to move ahead with these rituals because I was tired of poverty. I was then instructed on where I was supposed to hit that goat with the axe.